Yeah,
I'll say
I also,
some L's as well here, by the way, because Arteta has been a shambles this season. I'm sorry, it really has been bad. Like the style of play has been pathetic, if I'm honest with you. Like LB said, he's so worried about going attack minded. He's go OTT defensive. He's playing everybody everywhere now. I understand we've got injuries, but this has been a bit of a madness. We've got Partey playing at right back. We've got Trossard going in the 10. We've got Rice playing in the 8. I've seen Partey go back in midfield, then back to right back. Up top, we've got Kai Havertz and Kai Havertz only. We've got players coming on against St James's Park. Sorry, against Newcastle at St James's Park. Jorginho and Zinchenko coming on to win us a game. We're 1-0 down. What the hell's going on, man? Like, there's just so much at the moment I'm looking at, subs-wise, the way we're set up, tactically, looking to change, not trusting some of his players again, like Ethan Nwaneri, who he kept and said was ready. We don't need to replace Smith Rowe. We've got this kid, not seeing him enough. So I'm sorry, but he has to hold L. And there's a lot of the fan base that don't ever want to point the fingers and say that. But sometimes you just have to say it.
So unhealthy, Daniel. Bang on the money, man.
So unhealthy. It actually winds me up massively. When your kid does something wrong, you tell them off. Yeah? You don't just let them get away with it all.
And you know what annoys me about that, Daniel?
Why is it like that though at your club then?
Because Arsenal fans can be a bit weird. You either don't rate Mikel Arteta, he's crap, get rid of him, he's copying Jose, Pep, whichever manager. And then you've got you've got some fans where he's the best thing since sliced bread. Now, me, I actually like Arteta. I want you to really achieve stuff at Arsenal. I don't really care if you achieve things away from Arsenal for obvious reasons, right? But I have no doubt you'll be a good manager. My issue is you need to do it at Arsenal. My biggest issue with that is, like, you lot have Pep. Obviously, if Pep does great things, you lot will wax lyrical. If he does something shaky, you're going to ask questions. And it's like, for me, you can't big up Mikel Arteta and then not blame him for certain things if it goes left. It really just doesn't make sense. It's like a cult following where it's got to the point now, if you ask a question of Arteta, you've got problems. It doesn't make sense, man. It's very irrational, if I'm honest.
That is unhealthy as well, like you were saying, because, like, you know, at the weekend when we got beat, I went on my channel and I said, listen, Pep made 2 or 3 mistakes today.
Exactly, it comes with the territory.
I don't really remember too many people in my chat saying, what the fuck you on about? Like, you know, you got to be able to have that conversation.
I got called out on Sunday for not having the same energy towards Rude as I did towards Ten Hag at the end. All of our fan bases have these people that are very polarized, and I actually think both groups, the Uber Arteta outers and the Uber Arteta inners, I think they're problematic for the football club in the sense of it's harder to have it. I think you need to have a balanced conversation, and at the very least see the other person's point of view. And I feel that there's too many that don't. And I believe that, look, one thing I would say about this is about Arsenal is I know that there's this notion that negative, angry fans hold high standards, therefore clubs succeed, and Real Madrid fans are the pinnacle of this. I would love, if I had the money to back a study, I'd love it to be studied. In my experience doing social media for 10 years, whenever fan bases are really happy and predominantly positive, is I see the best results for their team. Arsenal got better when the majority of the fan base was feeling a bit happier about the football. City fans have been happy for a long time now, and it's kind of maintained itself. Liverpool, similar. Man United, always toxic, never a problem. And I understand that as fans, you need things to improve at your club to create that positive environment. I'm not just saying be positive overnight for absolutely no reason. But sometimes I feel being overly positive and kind of being toxic with it, and equally being overly negative and toxic with it, I don't know if I do think fans are very powerful at football clubs. I think what we say and do and what we've said and done for years resonates into dressing rooms. I think it resonates into boardrooms. I don't believe this notion that what we say or do is unimportant, but I believe if there's no balance, and I believe if everything is just hyperbolic, very, very polarized, and you know, there's a comment that came through earlier that said something along the lines of, here it is, Terry, you really know how to bring on negative Arsenal fans when it suits you. These same people have said otherwise. Saying deluded is a flip-flop. I don't know, right? Because I don't know that. But this is crazy.
God be there for buy a flip-flop. Like, if the sun's shining, I'm going to tell you the sun's shining. If it's raining, why would I tell you the sun's shining? It doesn't make sense. For the record, I think there's plenty of things to be optimistic about if he is talking to me about Arsenal. As you said, we've got the foundation, we've got young players. I'd like, as I keep saying, but I'm negative, I actually like Mikel Arteta. But at the same time, there are small little things that are stopping us. And what annoys me, as kind of on brand with what you're saying, if we just want to waffle, call the whole club crap, people got time for that. If we went and beat Newcastle, everyone would have time to, you know, to drink the positive Kool-Aid. Why is it a problem to look at the highlights? Mikel Arteta comes out and says, We want to win Premier League titles. If you go on Arsenal.com right now, actually, and go and read the statement that said when Edu leaves, Josh Kroenke comes out and says, we're still committed, something along the lines of, we're still committed to winning and doing all of these kind of things. The club are saying it. We all saw the last day of last season. I'm not asking anything more of Arsenal Football Club than they're doing internally. Do you really think these players are happy to have, kissed the Premier League and lose out 2 points to City last season? That's the only way we're going to get to the next level. Not thinking about what we're good at. Take the good and make it great. It's the evident failings that are stopping us. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I actually believe on and off the field, we are our own worst enemies. I don't, as great as Manchester City are in those last 2 seasons prior to now, take nothing away from City. I can't, before I go and look at why Manchester City won the league, I look at Arsenal. I think of the lack of striker. I think of the little ruts we had at times. I think at times we didn't get over the line. We know we've got a competitive side. It's now about time to stop being the nearly men. It's those fine margins. As I said, 2 points last season. There's little things we could do that make the world of difference, but it's copium. Football fundamentally is an emotional sport, bro. So people can hear what they want.
And at the end of the day, when you're near the top, you have to nitpick to get over that line. And to the comments, and I know when to bring negative football fans on. I just love those comments, because 1 minute I'm called the Arsenal Terrace and nothing negative gets said here. The next minute, you have too many negative Arsenal fans on here. It's opinions, and there's a variety of them on the Football Terrace. And I still get called out for saying Arsenal was scary. Well, 2 years ago, they were scaring me. But again, I've explained it a million times and it never gets addressed. I was talking about it from my position in the fucking mud. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it Man City fans weren't scared per se. Well, LB kind of alluded to it earlier. But I just think it's important to have the conversations. And, as a super chat here says, the Arteta out debate is 5 years old. Look, I look at it this.
It's because it's valid. It's Abraham. The reason that we still have in the debate and people talk about it, because it's still a valid debate. Arsenal have won 1 trophy in 5 years under this guy. That's why if he starts winning Premier Leagues and Champions League, the debate's gone. The debate's gone.
I think it's this, though, the LB. I think if we're being intellectually honest, I think the debate, some will say it's never ended. I think it did, and it started again. And what I mean by that is this. When you listen to a lot of the people that are staunch Arteta outers, they also claimed he'd never get into a top 4 race. He'd never make it into the Champions League. He'd never get us into a title race. He would never get us. And I'm speaking in their voice, not my own when I say we, for anybody that's wondering, right? I'm not going to get rid of them accusations, am I? But they got a lot wrong in that debate as well. So I think for some people, it's, you got 5 of your 6 predictions about the manager wrong. You've lost the debate, as an example. However, let's just say that's true. Let's just hypothetically say it is. Abraham, you can't just say the manager's got to stay in forever. You've got to aim to win those major trophies. I think this is where the balance has to come in. And I feel that some people online are just worried that an Arteta outer will win the debate. And I just think that shouldn't be, for me as a Man United fan, I'm never worried about winning the debates or not. I'm more worried about my club doing well. And I don't think Amarim's going to come in and we're going to be in a title challenge this season or next. I'd love to be fucking wrong about that. I'm not married to being right about my predictions. And I just think, if it ends up being the right thing for Arsenal to do to move on from our... And again, people go back to my early Arsenal scary videos. Listen to what I said. I said, I think it's win-win. I think you're either going to go on to win with this man or you'll be built to win with somebody else.
People don't care about that, man. People don't care about that, Terry. It's agendas, man. It's agendas and being loyal to your own ideologies. Football's a humble lot. Everybody's had good shouts and bad shouts. Yeah. We just want what's right for the football club, man. Simple as that. If keeping Arteta is the right thing, hopefully time tells that. If getting rid of him is the right thing, hopefully time tells that. It's just people want to be more right than see their club actually win things.
Yeah, that's the problem we got, man. I don't understand why people believe they have to be right or wrong all the time. Look, I'd love to be wrong about Arsenal. The only thing I was wrong about was, did I see Arteta get us challenging again? Nah, not when we were coming 8th and 5th. No, I didn't, if I'm honest with you. I was wrong about that. But the process weren't, let's get us challenging again. The process was to win us trophies. I was told when we went to Highbury to the Emirates, we were going to be up there with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. That was the plan, right? 20 years later, we've been losing to the other teams we're getting with B that aren't Bayern Munich and Barcelona.
City have done that, if anything.
Yeah, facts. I mean, look, City's a completely different story, in my opinion. But I look at what Arsenal have done, and I look back and I think, wow, we hounded out a manager when he didn't win anything, and he was 22 years at the club and incredibly successful. And now we're getting to that stage again where we aren't winning stuff, and everyone's like, it doesn't matter this time because he's got nice hair and he buys dogs called Win. I don't get it. Like, for me,
Big up
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Terrace.
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
no sense.
That stuff's
You know what I'm
that stuff's crazy to me, and I think that there is that balance in this. And I agree with you, Deluded. I think that Arteta's, I think he's going to go on to win major things in his career. It just may not necessarily be at Arsenal, and there comes
That's
that
my
point
biggest
where
fear.
there comes that, and I've said from the beginning of last season, moving forward, for what it's worth, I'm judging Arteta solely on what he wins now. The rebuild, I've kind of compartmentalized that. Did a great job from taking you from where you were to this level, but he now has to be judged as a manager at one of the biggest clubs in the world, in the biggest league in the world, and he has to be judged fairly within that. And that doesn't mean that it undoes his previous achievements or the growth. It doesn't mean it undoes previous opinions of mine and I'm suddenly a flip-flop. It's the way the world is. How I'm going to treat
You
Amorim
set the
when he first
standards. You
comes
finished
in,
second twice. You've set the standards. So now we're
Exactly.
asking, when are we going to get over the
go to
line?
next level. Look, when Amorim comes in, I'm not going to have the same thoughts around Amorim day one as I will going into his second season, into his third season, because you expect that growth at that point from where we are right now. And what I congratulate him for, and hopefully I do, in his first full season versus his fifth full season should be very different, especially when your starting point's here. Now, again, the irony is when the next manager comes in, and at some point Arsenal will get a new manager for one reason or another, if you guys are title challenging or title winners, the expectation on that new manager should be very different from the opening expectations that Arteta had, because Arteta took you over when you were down here. And I don't understand why that's such a hard concept for people to follow. When the guy replaces Pep, no one's coming in going, you know, we've got to give, say it's Inzaghi, got to give Inzaghi 3 years to build his squad, haven't you? No, the expectation will be you fucking win straight away because they're one of the best teams in the world. And
Why do people say